Welcome back to Timothee Academy. I'm Russell Mays, Director of Content. Today we're going to be doing the best hair in Hollywood, Timothée Chalamet. It is iconic from his starring in Dune. I think it's the coolest haircut that we have seen in a long time. It has just enough length to give it some style, but not so much that it looks completely disheveled and out of sorts. I'm going to show you how to get the right amount of graduation, the right amount of layering to keep it from looking too bubbly and round, but just the right amount of style. So let's get started. So we're going to start in the center back. We're going to take a middle part all the way down the back. We're going to go from the occipital bone to the mastoid. That's going to give us our first flat section in the back. I'm using my Timothee Tokyo scissor. I want a nice long blade. This is 6-inch. It's got a good clean point so I can cut a lot of hair with one section with a longer blade. I tilt my head down, take a center section right through here. Now, when I'm cutting curly hair, I want to minimize the amount of tension that I put on the hair, so that minimizes the amount of pushback that I get when I cut it and release it. The more tension that I put on curly hair when I cut it, the more graduation that I'm going to get. Comb straight down, find the length that I want, look at the face, see where that wants to be. Little to no tension. The only tension I'm getting is whatever the comb gives me. I'll clamp my fingers down, cut that straight across. Comb it again to check and make sure that looks good. That looks good. Now we're going to take our next section. I'm going to split that in half because it's so wide. Comb that straight down in its natural fall. There's my guide. The only tension that I'm getting is from the comb. After I cut the first section, I want to encourage the curl to see how short it's going to fall in relation to the rest of the haircut and the rest of their head. I want to see where that's going to fit. So I'm going to encourage that to kind of curl up. I'm not looking for a clean line. I'm looking for overall length. Take a parallel section. Follow us on your favorite social media at Timothee Feather. Again, going through and taking a center section. So since I saw his haircut and it's graduated on the bottom lengths and layered on the top lengths, I'm going to start my graduation now. I may increase it as we go, but I'm going to start here and I'm going to hold it at that elevation right there. So that's going to bevel my line as I go up and give me a little bit of stack. It's also going to encourage this hair to curl up. There's my length from underneath. Cut that straight across. So by elevating it, it's going to cut that top layer a little shorter than the underneath layer, which will encourage graduation. And I'm just going off the elevation that the head shape is showing me. So I put my comb there, that's the elevation, that's the elevation, that's the elevation. As I go up the head, the elevation increases. Again, let's encourage that curl, see what my lengths are looking like, and I think that that's going to be just fine. Next section in the back, right to the top of the hairline, right above the ear. Now we're going to see if any hair reaches, but I am going to continue at the elevation that the comb is showing me. So I'm going at that elevation. Take a center section, comb that out. There's very little to cut there. Next section. Only tension that I'm getting is from the comb. I am not introducing any tension by me gripping my fingers as I take that section to the cut point. Now the last section here, nothing is going to reach, but I am going to check it just to make sure, and I have nothing really reaching there. Yeah, we're good. So no problem. If he had hair, I would still continue to go until I ran out of hair, following the same pattern I did underneath. Now let's come to the side, and I'm going to take a natural or center part, and I'm going to go from the first bump of the head right to the hairline directly behind the ear. So from here, I want this length to be about right at the nose. So I'm going to comb this straight down, Whatever tension the comb gives me, that's what I'm going for. And I'm going to cut it right at the tip of the nose. I'm going to this length here. I want this to almost be one length. A little bit longer here is okay, but I don't want to go really angular at the front because I want this hair to get out of the face and show the jawline. If I angle this down, it's going to hide the jawline. So going straight back gives me the ability to push the hair out of the face, but also reveal that jawline. So we're going to comb that forward off of that elevation. Angle this back. Using my guide right at the front. There's my guide. Angle this back. So now I have this slightly increasing in length from my shortest point right at the center of the nose. Take a parallel angle all the way down into the nape. Comb that forward, find my guide underneath. Not a whole lot to cut, but going off the elevation of the head, finding my length underneath, pulling that 90 degrees to my part, and then cutting whatever the angle was underneath. Now once I reach the back of the ear, now I'm going to pull this still at 90, but I'm going to change my finger angle. So I had this sort of shape going through here. If I continue that on, I'm going to end up with a hellacious bowl cut. It's not going to be cute. So right at behind the ear, I'm going to change my level, change my angle, go from short to this corner of the hairline right through here, and blend the two together. So I'm changing the angle of graduation that I have right there as I transition from the side into the back. Perfect. Now as I start to brush this back, you can see how I still get this to fill in through here, but I expose the jawline because I held it down and back and then forward to create my graduation on the sides. So now we're going to take parallel section. I'm going to go through and re-wet the hair so I can have a consistent level of moisture throughout, especially on cutting curly hair. It makes it a lot easier to comb and smooth by using some Timothee Blade Glide. Even though I'm not using a razor, this will still help me get a cleaner cut because it compacts the cuticle and makes it easier to comb. Coming in right here, finding my level. Nothing to cut right there in the middle, that's good. Still 90, find my level. Nothing to cut there, that's good. Here, very little to cut right there. Now here, finding the right elevation and then continuing that angle down into the nape. Give us a thumbs up, click subscribe, and the notification bell to be notified of future Timothee Academy content. Take the rest of this side. I doubt there's going to be a whole lot of hair that reaches. Oh, we might have a little something right there. Very little reaches there. Find the correct angle of elevation. Right through there is perfect. There we go. So we have graduation this way, we have graduation that way. I have graduation going this way. All right, so let's start with a center mohawk section. From the front all the way into the nape. Since I don't want to layer the top a lot, I'm going to take these first two flat sections, hold that up just to get an idea of where my length is. And I've got my length right about there. We're going to take that, see how that progresses. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We're not taking a whole lot of length off. I just want to bevel this shape a little bit. Take a section. There's my guide. Cut that back. Take a small piece as my guide. And continue that all the way down into the nape. Continuing to pull everything at 90 degrees from the head until I run out of hair. I'm going to take from the high point of the head, comb that hair forward so I have the high point of my head right here. From there, I'm going to pivot to the corner of the hairline. So I had my center section. Now I'm taking a pivot to the corner, and I'm going to follow the center guide all the way down and continue my layering as I round the head. Small piece as my guide. Hold these two sections into the center of each section. Cut that through. If there's nothing to cut, there's nothing to cut. If there's something to cut, I cut it. But you got to figure, I've cut this already when I cut the sides, so if there's nothing hanging out and hanging over it, this is just to make sure everything blends through. Now I will remove my center section. This was the first section that I created. We're going to get that hidden out of the way. And now I will pivot again right behind the ear to the mastoid. And I'm going off the bones of the head so that I can match this perfectly on the other side. So now I'll take my second and third section, hold that straight up, take my next piece, there's my guide, cut that through, remove the old section, both of those two together, very little, if anything, to cut because I've already cut this when I cut it with the sides. So we make sure everything blends there. I will remove the second section that I took. So I had the center, now the second section, now I have the third section. And from here on the top of the head, I'm no longer going to pivot. I'm going to take a parallel section straight down to the quarter part, which is right there, that peak above the ear. So now I have my guide from the top and from the back. Pull that up. Very little comes off through there. Everything gets cut 90 degrees. Follow that all the way through and down. I will remove the third section. Remove the third. Now I'll take the rest of this entire section, comb it into the previously cut section. There should be very little, if any, to cut. Just a little bit right there. All good. After I've cut this side here, I'm going to go back, take my original center section that was the guide that I used for this side, find that again, pin out of the way, and do the exact same thing on the other side. All right, here's our end result, and I think the shape works really, really well. He's worn this type of shape in varying lengths, where a little longer, a little shorter in the back, a little longer in the front, but it's always this sort of shape where it's angled back in almost a bobbish type of shape, and then angled and graduated really steeply from the ear down in the back. And that gives you the ability to open up the jaw, because he has a really, a Hollywood perfect jawline. So you want to expose that. So you're trying to get the hair out of the face, but you don't want to cut everything too short. And I think that this works well. Graduation underneath, a little bit of layering on top, works well on all types of hair, but curly hair, it looks magical. magical. So please add this to your repertoire. It will work wonders on your male clientele and expand your booking abilities. So please check out the Timothee Academy. There's all kinds of fantastic information on there that will make you a better hairstylist and barber. Please let us know what you'd like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.